Hello, welcome to episode 41 of Spreading the Nerd. I'm your host today, Rick, because Clint is off screwing off again. So I'll be steering the ship into the whirlpool until it crashes at the bottom of the ocean. Joining me today is, as usual, our good buddy Silkenit. How we doing today, man?
Doing good. It was a short week for me because you have Memorial Day Monday a bit.
Sorry, what was that again?
You have a day off Monday? I don't
I
remember
do.
if you.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
But we had ours
Mm.
this Monday. So it was a two short weeks in a row. Like came back from PAX, got a 3-day week, then a day off, 4-day week. That's going to stop, sadly. But that makes good time to rest and play some games. So
There's a lot to play right now for sure. It's been a
yeah,
very busy like 3 or 4 months of releases for sure.
and it's not slowing
No,
down.
no, actually, it's only getting worse. Probably there's only I think two things I'm really all that interested in next month, not counting the Switch 2 itself. But and then there's very little in July. But in like August, September,
Little in
October, and
July?
November, it's insane.
Isn't July Delta and
No,
Death
that's
Stranding
August.
too?
That's in August.
And DS2? Isn't DS2 July?
No, DS2 is June. It's
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
That's why I said there's a couple things in June. It's like June 28th, so it's like the very end of it. And then there's like Donkey Kong in July. Plus there's something else that I keep forgetting about.
There's
And then,
Lies of P Overture at the end of the July, I think. Like 17 or something.
for what again? I'm sorry.
Lies of P
That's it.
Overture.
That's the one I keep forgetting about. Yes, that's it. There's that and there's Donkey Kong, but there's really nothing else in July that I know of, at least that I care about. Well, that Shinobi game might be in July, but I have no idea. I'll probably buy it just to support it. But
It's too much to keep up with, and honestly, it's just like not a panic attack, but like it's so much. Like I feel overwhelmed just looking at the
I was about
calendar.
to say it is straight up overwhelming at this point. Like you almost have to accept that you just can't play everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at that point now. I'm like, I have so much games like from this first 4 months that I haven't played yet or finished, plus all my backlog. It's hard to justify spending money anymore.
It is. I still manage to do it, but it is. I don't debate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got I believe a world premiere Spreading the Nerd event today.
Yeah, I haven't checked
unfortunately, a certain other host of Spreading the Nerd put in the damn description what it is, which I was not going to do that. But nevertheless, I did get my copy of Grace Given, which is the very pricey Elden Ring, I guess you'd call it like a lore book.
Yeah, it's a lore book.
Yeah. That was made by Tune In Farewell. If you ever are familiar with them, they do pretty high end like lore books. They did them for like the original Dark Souls and stuff like that. They did one for Elden Ring, and I'm like, all right, well, first one to do it with, it's this. I managed this way. I managed to talk this strapping young lad into buying one as well.
That was really hard. Like, here is the link. Okay.
Well, as I remember, you were like, man, that's really cool, but I'm not going to buy that. And then like a day later, you're like, hey, I bought it.
Yeah, it was the price, but just at the same point, like, it's a collector's edition that's limited for one, so that kind of justified.
Although I don't know if you saw, I was actually kind of annoyed. Like I knew they would probably eventually have a soft cover version, which is what they had for I think it's the Abyssal Archive. I think that's the name of the one for Dark Souls, which they do, but they also have another run of it that for the hardcover version that's like half the price. I think it has a couple less like goodies to it, but I don't know. Should I open it now, or should we hold off a little bit?
I mean, go ahead.
It is kind of the thing.
I'm really curious to see it.
So hold on. Let me move my mic here a little bit so I can try and get it. So Silkenit's copy is currently in the.
It's in transit.
It's in transit, and it's learning French. It's not. It has not.
Yeah, it does too, to cross the border to Canada. Sorry.
So here's the box. As you see, I have not opened it. When I got it, I said, "Hey, this might be a cool little thing to do." So I'm gonna open the box now.
Mine is in Swedesboro, New Jersey.
That's where mine came from. Or well, I don't know. It came from New Jersey. I know that.
Yeah, it started at in New Jersey also, like Phillipsburg. It's moving.
All right, so here we go.
I should have it for the 4th of June.
Excitement is building. So we have a
Ooh.
Even
Even
box.
the box.
Yeah, even the box has the.
I don't have space to keep boxes.
Well, it's the same size as the book, so you can always keep the book in it.
No, I want to display the book.
It's true.
I probably won't read the book because they were good enough to send us
The PDF file, yes.
the ebook
Yes.
and the audiobook version.
Well, you had to buy the audiobook, I think, but you got it discounted, which actually I need to buy.
I got the email and I didn't open it, but I see. Oh, get your audiobook. Okay.
Okay, so it does come with a wooden slipcover with a, I guess you would say velvet thing. So there was 3 versions of this initially. There was the low end version, which is what this is, which was what was it, like $280. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, US dollars. I don't know what it was in Canadian. But this version has what's this guy's name? The pot guy. Alexander. Yes, thank you. There was a like $700 version, which it was this, but had a couple little more thingies, which had a much cooler art. Actually, it had the Erd tree, if I remember correctly, as the art. So. And then there was an insanely expensive, like $1,300 version, which was the same thing as the other one, except you got your name printed in it or something like that.
Don't they have like a map or a triptych or something?
Don't they have a what? I'm sorry.
Like an artwork printed.
Oh yes, it should be in here. I like the lithograph. You mean? Yeah, it should be in here. Yeah. So okay, so when we open it, not open. I'm sorry. So here's the cover. That's a cool picture. It's a little bit glossy, as you can see, which is nice, right?
Oh, the embossing is so.
There's
good.
this part I know is also different depending on which version you buy. I believe in the more expensive ones it's red, whereas it's green in the ghetto version. So let's see. Now the lithograph. I'll see if I can find it first.
Oh yeah, so the cheapest deluxe edition has Astel on it.
Yeah, I don't see this separate piece of artwork, but let's see. Maybe there is something else in the box there.
I can't find the.
Let's see it. I swear you're right. Oh no! You know what? Maybe the lithograph only comes with the more expensive ones. That might be.
I think,
That you're right. You're right. That is what it is. I thought it came with this one too. All right, but anyway. So, also I didn't show the back. Oops, sorry.
Nice, golden order.
All right, so I don't know if I can't remember if I pointed this out, but it does have gold embossed edges to the pages, which gives it a nice, eloquent look. And then, so there's just a random page, very high quality paper, high quality. I mean, it better be for the price, but high quality art, all in color. And the book is written by Smotown. He did the writing for them. He actually has a channel which does have. I looked at it. It's got a crap ton of Elden Ring lore. So they didn't just pick some random dude. Like with the Abyssal Archive, they got Vadi Vidya. Is that his name? Vadi Vidya. Yeah. Who is basically the de facto Dark Souls lore master at this point. Yeah. So try it. Not. It's kind of written like a Bible. There's a picture of.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the Bible.
Yes, it is. Well, it's missing the New Testament of the Bible, though. It does not have
the Shadow of the
Erd tree. But before it came out, I remember somebody asking something about it, and they said it does not have that content. However, what is in here will not in any way conflict with the lore that has been written in Shadow of the Erd tree.
No, because the Erd tree, they just added another layer anyway.
But with Erd, like, specifically, a lot of people had thought that what's his name?
Mesmer?
Moog had had captured Mikola, whereas obviously Erdtree confirms that not to be the case. So I think basically what they're saying is it's not like whatever was retconned, if you will, in Shadow of the Erdtree is still lore correct in this. There's a good picture of Radigan. That's actually really good art. I believe that said there's 20 color photos in this somewhere. Let's see if what waifu's got to be in here somewhere, right? Let's see.
Malenia? Yeah, probably.
No, not Millennia.
Rani?
Yeah, Ronnie, yeah.
I mean, Malenia and Rani, they can do whatever they want to me.
Let's see. But yeah, here's just another random page. It's got very high quality printing, very high quality images.
I love like the sword inserted in the text.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I mean, again, very expensive. There we go. There's sorry, I'm trying to, there we go. That way.
Yeah.
It's
Fia?
It's what's her name?
Godfrey.
And the son who got killed.
Yeah, Godfrey.
Godfrey, yes.
Godfrey,
yeah. That's actually, I assume, after he was killed. So this basically would be the fallout from Randy. Actually, even if Randy was scheming to bring about the Age of Stars, so yeah. This is a pretty impressive book. Is it worth $300? Well, your mileage may vary on that, but I'm pretty pleased with it. It is definitely a, just flipping through the pages. There's a picture of Moog. I'll give them credit, man. They did not skimp on the art because that is genuinely.
I mean, like like between the quality of the cover, the paper, the printing, the writing that went into doing like that large of a book.
Mm-hmm.
That's you pay a premium for sure. But
and to be clear, if this is something that people are interested in, but not the $300, the paperback version of it, which has all the same art and stuff like that, I believe, is around $100. So if you really wanted the art book, or really wanted the lore book,
there's a Grace Given soft cover is 56.
56. Okay, there you go. I mean, this is worth $56 for the Elden Ring, right?
You might not have the same illustrations. So
it doesn't. Oh, okay.
I have the collector's edition.
Which is what this
hardcover with the bound simulated leather. The soft cover. The paper, it's a 90 gram instead of 120.
Mm-hmm.
The soft cover does not have full page illustration.
Oh, okay. So you would be losing that.
They are printed directly onto uncoated body paper stock, so like just on the page. It's not a. It's not a.
It's not like a press. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So they are there, but it's just a lower quality. Yeah. I got like this is
you
like.
Don't have the slipcase. You don't
gotcha.
have the printed end papers. You don't have the spine.
Right. Okay. That makes. But still, I mean, that's obviously a lot of loss, but you're not really losing the meat of the product either.
No. If what you really want is the lore and the writing, you get that. It's
all there. Yes. And now I don't know for sure, but I imagine buying the soft cover version probably would also include, if nothing else, maybe a discounted option to purchase the PDF if you wanted to do it that way. But yeah, no, this is high quality, no doubt about it. This is a collector's piece. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah, and that's what it's called, the collector's edition. It's for collecting.
And for sure, still you will definitely be able to fit it on your shelf. You'll 100% have the space to put it there.
Perfect.
Because
it's just there.
Yeah. So
between the next to the other Elden Ring stuff.
So for comparison, hold on. I'll just grab. Here we go. Here is the metaphor guide, which is give or take roughly the same size as the Elden Ring. The Elden Ring guide, okay. So it's actually a little bit more narrow. I'm trying to. There we go.
Okay.
It's actually a little bit shorter, and then obviously it's a little bit thicker just because there's more to it. But yeah, so as long as you have the thickness space, you got all the you can fit the.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send picture in the Discord when I get it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's pretty exciting. It was an expensive buy, but you can definitely see this is a case of paying. Getting what you pay for, right? You're buying a high end product here, but you're paying a high end premium for it. But
yeah, I mean it's a kind of a art piece in itself.
Mm-hmm. What's wild is it is not an official, not a Bandai Namco.
No, it's not a Bandai Namco product.
Right, but I mean the guy is outside of Vadia, he is one of the, I guess, more well known lore creators for specifically Elden Ring. He did do ones for Dark Souls, but I think he's more known for his Elden Ring ones, which is why they chose him. So it's not to say there wouldn't be some inconsistencies, but I imagine they probably took a lot of pains to make sure that it was pretty authentic to the actual lore they were going for. So, yeah, pretty cool though. I'm happy with it. What I'm not happy about is figuring out where the hell I'm going to put it, because something like this, obviously, you kind of want this displayed, pretty prominently. So I can't just like tuck it into a corner like all my other crap. So I'm gonna have to. I guess I'm gonna have to use this long weekend to figure out where I'm gonna put it, because this is something I want to be displayed. And actually, just so you know, we will be having a guest hop on here in any second. I'll actually talk about this again because he's going to be interested. So this will be our second episode of international version of Spreading the Nerd, where we got the European abroad, that way, the European abroad, the North American, and we'll have the Central/South American here joining in a moment with Alex. But I guess until he gets here, is there anything you wanted to yap about?
Well, talking about that Grace Given book made me reinstall Elden Ring. Because I install and uninstall it if I need space. And
Alex, you were 10 minutes late from
the unboxing of the legendary art book.
Not art book, lore book. There is art in it, but it's a lore book. Yeah, it's got the
beautiful
velvet slipcover, and I'll just run through it real quick for you again. There's the cover with the embossed image. Actually, that would be the embossing, but try and get this here. Actually, I happen to pick a page with art, which is good because
that's
Radagon. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Because the art in this version, we were talking about it. They have a paperback version, and we were trying to figure out what the difference was outside of the binding, obviously. The collector's edition version, which is this, and the two are higher end versions, are what was the word we discovered? It's like pressed onto it as opposed to
it's not like printed on a normal base of paper.
Right. So like I don't know how well this will show up on that shitty camera, but actually you can kind of see there. You can see
you can kind of see the mat.
Yeah,
there's like a text mat.
It almost looks like it was painted onto this page, as opposed to just being printed onto it, like what it is on it. So, but there's obviously a big price difference. This is $300 roughly, whereas the other one's $50. So, but
the price of an old Switch.
Yeah. But no, very
really Switch one.
Very impressed, Alex. The paper quality. This sounds like a dumb thing to say, but if you touch it,
if you love lore book and art, it's like it pays for itself.
I'm not even joking. Like we've been Silken and I've been joking about it. It generally feels like you're holding like a high quality like Bible. Like just the way that the printing is done and all that. That's actually
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
Feel that.
And the story is probably better.
There's probably I'm never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. Alex, how are you doing, my friend?
Surviving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm playing.
This is the same thing you were playing yesterday? Oh, okay. I mean, you can talk about it if you want.
Yeah. It never ends.
Your review is out, so I assume it's not under embargo anymore.
No, it's like I'm still working through my Blades of Fire review. My review that's up is Expedition 33, but man, Blades of Fire, it's like, how can I say this? It's like when you have a good idea, a pretty solid idea, but you know that everything else that you do sucks. You don't make a 50 to 80 hour game.
80.
Like it can be up to 80 if you want to do like everything. when you have like such a good combat surrounded by the most empty potato salad of story.
Yeah, that's 2 days
Character.
in a row now. You've used potato salad as an insult.
Yeah.
What's up with that? I like potato salad. So
Yeah,
what's
the
up with
thing
that?
is that because the thing is that I come from Latino
It's
countries.
generic. It's not bad. It's generic.
Yeah, I come from Latino countries where our potato salads are seasoned at the most, like at the most delicious way. Think about it like a potato salad of someone just cutting the potato and they serving you that without any seasoning. This is like a bland potato.
Okay,
This is
okay.
this is the equivalent of bland potato. And if you like bland potato, I respect it. I like you're entitled, like you're entitled to like what you like, but I like some seasoning in my food, and this is unseasoned food. So,
That makes a little more sense. I was just
yes.
I was like, potato salad is such a weird metaphor to make.
Yeah, I love myself. I love myself some potato salad with like some salt, some cream, some like bacon, like everything, like you like everything you can like put on top of it.
The key for me, so I'm interested. We're on foodcast mode now, but I love potato salad if I like it, but I'm very picky about whether I like it or not.
Phone call.
Okay, well, Soken, back to you.
Yeah, potato salad.
Yes.
Not my favorite salad, but I'll take it if it's on the menu.
What I was going to say is I particularly like it with. I know you can't make it without it at all, but as little celery as humanly possible, because I do not like celery at all. And celery,
you don't have to put celery in that.
Well,
you can put whatever you want.
Like, basically, everywhere that I've had it, it had it in. That's why I was saying that.
Most of the time, I had potato salad. It was potato, pickles, and kind of a not a mayonnaise, but a salad dressing sauce.
Mm-hmm.
That was a quick phone call.
Yeah, I had you to tell me like, "Hey, I'm busy. Please."
Later. You don't have to do that.
But yeah, so like if you played Lords of Shadow, like Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, and even Metroid Dread, like if Mercury Steam has been doing something, was kind of like playing on someone else's kind of like property, and this allowed them an opportunity to be like, hey, we played on someone else's sandbox, let's do something our own. And yes, it still feels like similar to how Lords of Shadow was like, we're doing the character action God of War style of game. Like when you look at this game, it's like, oh, that looks like God of War, and it also has Souls-like elements, but they went a different direction with the combat that feels a little bit like For Honor, but with a different control scheme. And I didn't realize how much how effective that actually is, because like it's not that complicated. It's like you can even spam whatever.
What's complicated is unremembering how you normally control things. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like it's not just a square, triangle, or XY like combo system, or just an R1 R2 thing. It's like the control scheme is different, but once you wrap your hair around it, it's like kind of cool, because the enemy variety is like super strong. Like there's a lot of them, and a lot of the gameplay centers around you building your weapon and fighting enemies that then drop a mold for you to build different kinds of weapons, and you kind of like you feel like very connected to whatever weapon you're building. And I do like that, because like it's a kind of interesting loop of like, you go in, obviously your weapons degrade over time, and I don't feel as bad with like the weapon degrading as I do other games, because they actually do last. In fact, like part of the mini game, there's like a mini game where when you're like building the weapon, there's kind of like a mold that you kind of have to like and start like forging it. And if you
looks like an equalizer, yeah.
Yes. And then like if you equalize it as much as you can, like you get like a star system that basically gives weapons their lives. So it means that if one weapon breaks, you just go to like a forge and just repair. That takes one of those stars, but you can still use it 3 more times before it breaks. So like it's still a while. And even then, like you get different materials that then be like, oh, this is gonna make this weapon better. Let me just recycle this entire weapon, get all that material back, and make me remake the weapon with like the added curb or the added material that's gonna give you more penetration or more slashing damage. And I feel at its fundamental, that's actually a really solid system. Unfortunately, that's all there is, because it's an action RPG without much RPG in it beyond just enemies with health, and there's not really much progression for your character either. And it's like, I feel like this kind of system would have worked in a game that ended for me 40 hours ago. I'm still going, and the thing won't end.
Well,
and
when you said yesterday how long it was, I was like, what the hell? Really?
Yes. And
I had no idea it was that long.
Yeah, like I think the Eurogamer review like went for like 70 hours because he went like for completion. As the IGN review went for 55. I was like, my heart sank because I was like, Jesus Christ, really? Like, say whatever you want about God of War Ragnarok. You know what the length of that game is if you just mainline it? 25 hours.
Wait, 20 what?
Yes.
I think it took me 30
Yeah,
or
it's like
35 to platinum it.
yes, it's not that long. Like people like overstate how long like a game like God of War Ragnarok is.
No, it's because it feels long.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to be fair, I did play it on like give me a
Hard.
challenge, whatever it's called. Yeah, so that definitely adds hours to it. But
yeah, it's like I feel like people like overstate how long that game really is. Now that I'm playing one that's way longer, has a lot of God of War elements. I mentioned it in our episode last week. It's like this feels like Timu God of War because like your character could be like the silhouette of Kratos, basically. Like if you were to like put that comparison, that your character is basically Kratos, your annoying companion with you that reads like weird languages and like writes in lore could be Atreus, even though way more annoying. I like this companion is the closest I wanted to be like, can I throw this guy to a fire? Like there's a mechanic that you can to like send that companion away or bring him with you, because with you he starts like and sometimes it'd be like he like when you pop in, he's like you should have thrown that hammer to hell instead. Huh? I'm like, yeah, I should have because I hate you. There's like a witch that is basically Freya. There's like this ghost that brings you around, that it's kind of like seems like it's the equivalent of Mimir, but none of these characters are written well. The tone is like so wrong for like what you want this kind of game to be. There are a few moments where I feel like where I liked it the most is when it's at its most silly, but just like in concept. There's like this baby skeleton that helps you. It's like a literal baby that's alive, that's a literal skeleton, and he can like climb in your back and you carry him around. You need that baby skeleton to go through like a fortress because he's gonna reveal, hey, he's gonna be like and then you can like go to like open a wall or things like that. It's like it's those parts. It's only those parts where I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of a personality, maybe an annoying personality, but there's at least for such a vanilla bland game, like I'll welcome like any kind of personality out of like this personality less like world. The visuals are like, you can see the Mercury Steam Lords of Shadow art style like strong in this game, but it's like more vibrant and frankly more generic in my opinion, because like I feel like I've seen this kind of art style in so many games that you could say that it's fantasy slop if you're feeling very like cynical. Like it's not a bad looking game. In fact, like there's a few moments that to me like, oh, this is nice looking when you're at the forge and you look up and you see like the big god. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a nice visual.
The demo the art style reminded me of the original Fable.
That's actually not a bad comparison either.
Yeah, it had the same like you said, vibrancy, the same like I don't remember if this had a lot of bloom effect, whereas certainly the original Fable did, but it kind of had that real feel to me.
There's a lot of bloomy. There's like bloomish to some of like the how like the light like clashes with some of like the character models and all that. That reminds you of like an old game. It's definitely prettier than an old game, but there's kind of like a facade of like a more 360 PS, like a very very highly polished, super sharp PS3 360 game. It's hard. I didn't really mind that. It's just again, it's so damn long.
Yeah, that is a bummer. So here's a question for you. I didn't play a ton of it, but I did like what I played of the demo.
The demo's actually like makes a good impression. That's what I keep telling people.
I actually saw Luke said the same thing. He actually, I think this is what he was talking about when he said that. If I liked the demo, at what price point would you suggest it's worth?
$30.
Okay, that's about where I was thinking.
Honestly, after playing the demo, it reminded me very much of Eternal Strands.
Okay,
kind of level of game, and I was expecting it like 30, 40 maybe.
Yeah.
And when I saw the price, I was no.
Yeah, it's a 60. So to be fair, not $70. So they went for 60. So they kind of knew. But even then, I would say like, oh yeah, I would rather go cheaper because again, it's like it has one really great thing, which is the gameplay. It's just that it's so brought down by its length and the generic nature of its story. There's barely anything. I even told Ains, if I hear a single glaze of this game from the usual suspect, you know who, Mr. Glasses,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought you meant like across the industry in general. I was like,
Yes, no, if I hear like this Sunday, especially like
has
Glacy,
he played it or?
he played the demo and he was like,
Okay.
only because he had a codex, he was like, I feel so highly about this. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, really? Like, and like, there's no interest, there's nothing interesting happening in this game. It's like there's like no like a journey that kind of throws twists and turns to you. It's like there's like nothing that has really stood out for me. It's like it's so plain. It's like it's so mediocre from that angle that I'm like, yes, you have a really strong core, but everything else is so mediocre that I'm like, I don't want to play you, but I kind of have to because I signed up for you.
I wish he praises the story so I can just for once and for all stop listening to him.
Yes,
On the quality of writing of any game.
Exactly, because it's like because at that point it's like that's when
I'm really close to just
you're like
you're
close to the teetering end. Yeah, I don't blame you, but it's like that's what I told you because I'm like this is like I can't see the good on any like I like the Eurogamer review. I actually read because I was like they gave it a 4 out of 5, so I was like that seems oddly high for me, but let me see. And I started reading. It's like he really honed in on the combat, like the combat really enveloped. I'm like, I will give you that if you're one of those that can like withstand the blandness surrounding the actually really great thing. That's your prerogative, and like you're entitled to your opinion. I actually do agree the things that he praised on that combat. It's a combat that just keeps getting better with the more weapons you get. Like the more you start wrapping your head around like the material economy, which is pretty generous. Like it's very generous and it's like forging. That I'm like, I wish this combat was somewhere in something else.
But
I wish
it definitely seems like if nothing else, it had combat and definitely weapon crafting that needs to be borrowed heavily from other better games.
Yes, because we're at an era where it's like the action genre has been like subsumed by its Souls likes and over the shoulder God of War likes. Let's put it like that. Yeah. That I feel like they have found a way to like paint a brush within a familiar looking style of action game. That I'm like, that's actually cool. That it's just not a God of War game. Like,
I mean, to total credit them for actually trying something different. Like that definitely. You know, I am not of the mind that everything has to be something brand new, but like I applaud Mercury Steam for trying something different.
Yeah, and I'm always gonna be like, yeah, I want more new IP, and to me it was like, yeah, Mercury Steam has done good stuff like playing with someone else's IP. Like I want to see what they do with something original, especially because we recently like this game dropped out of nowhere. Like,
I mean, I knew it was coming. I had no idea it was coming now. Like when you said you reviewed it, I'm like, I thought this game was like 6 months out still.
Yeah, they announced it like 2 months ago. I went back. I was like, when this like was this? Yeah, it was like, announced 2 months ago with like this sharp release. So I was like, that's actually really cool that they were working on this since Metroid. I don't know if they worked on anything else since Metroid Dread, and I do love Metroid Dread. I thought that game was awesome, but this not so much. This game even has Metroidvania style. You're gonna have to go back to like an area of the map because you're gonna unlock something that's gonna unlock it, but it has such poor signposting in many places and so reliant on tiny companions. Specifically, you have to be standing in a specific place for a companion to script it, like the script moment kind of like kick in for them to be like, oh, like the skeleton kid be like, he starts dancing around, is moving, and then he starts pointing a wall that you could have just literally let me like smash at any point instead of having the scripted moment tell me this is because I feel like maybe the reason why this has gotten so much longer for me is the fact that I've been running in circles over in order to be like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? Like, this is so annoying. And it's like, there's like no, it's kind of what I said yesterday. Like, if you are directionally challenged or are not as good with like exploring, game is literal cancer.
Yeah.
Like,
when you said that, the first thing. When you said that, the first thing I could think of is this is definitely not a game Joe should play. Then, not saying that he is directly challenged. I'm just saying he likes to be led by
literally everything
where to go. Yeah, so it definitely is not something for him.
So it's not a game for everyone asking for a mini map in Clair Obscur.
No, no, and even then, like Clair Obscur, like it's more linear. This game is not really that linear.
Clair Obscur doesn't need a mini map. Like
I disagree.
I can draw you a mini map for every level of Clair Obscur right now in 2 seconds.
Yeah. I feel like if you really get into the linear mindset in Clair Obscur, like you eventually can like get over the fact that there's no mini map. It's more if you really want to explore everything. I think that's kind of where it gets annoying because you can get turned around really quick, especially with like the visual style. It's not in Clear
Yeah,
Obscure
but they're not large.
No, they're not. But the
No,
problem
they're
is
not.
the problem is they look like when you're in an area,
Mhm.
everything in it looks the same.
Yeah, like the signposting is not
Just
too
follow
obvious.
the lights. It's
Yeah.
not hard.
The lights is like one of the few times.
Well,
that-
right, but we're talking about if you want to make sure you're exploring everything, it can
Mhm.
be
Well,
easy
you go
to not
everywhere
know
where
if you
there's
have
no
been
lights.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that the signposting of Clear Obscure is the one thing that I even mentioned in my review that could be like improved, because I was like, I think you can make do without a minimap. It's just that the signposting within the level, especially for many people. For some people, it's enough. For some people, they need it slightly more. That's why we have the yellow paints and things like that, things like that in certain places. But I would rather take exploring Clear Obscure levels than I do this world, because it's like it has a semblance of a map that has no levels on top of it. So it's like I'm completely confused. Like I see it in the map. It's like apparently there's something here, but where the frick am I supposed to go to like go down here? And I'm going like in circles. And I feel like yeah, let's talk about Elden Ring. I feel like at the very least in the logic of how that map is laid out and designed, it's much easier for you to get a sense of space of where you've been or where you have not been. That is not here. They clearly wanted to do more something like inspired by Souls likes, but we're gonna give you at least some map. But it's like you didn't really study the correct intent to make sure that you're not turned around often, and that at least you're gonna see like something interesting that's gonna catch your eye, so you know where to go. Like if you're like, this game doesn't really reward curiosity beyond getting some tiny upgrades for health and stamina, which is very like God of War, like coded from in there. But it's just so, gosh, like there's something good here, but I'm like, I resent that it's not good enough for the amount of time that it's taking me to play it. Like enough so that I literally just turned it off and started playing Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, just to kind of like, I need to unload frustration.
Power battles.
Yeah, power battles. Yeah. just to kind of give you like, just something quick to just kind of like be slashing, because I cannot take going in circles anymore. Like, oh man, it's like it's been a frustrating review, and I was actually excited for this one because I was like, new IP from Mercury's team. I know they at least do good work at minimum, except Lords of Shadow 2. That game could go die in a fire. But
well, the one that was really bad was the interstitial game.
Mirrors of Fate.
Yes, thank you. I could not remember the name. Yeah, that one was terrible.
Yeah, the side scroller one. But it's like that. But Lords of Shadow 2 was like, compared to the first game, that second game was like a steep downgrade.
There were really good ideas in that, and then there was the idea to have 2/3 of the game be set in the modern day for some reason.
Yeah.
If they had the whole game set in like the past, it actually would have been really good. But by having you constantly in the modern day, it was not good.
I would say I would love for this combat system that they've cooked up for Blades of Fire to be like in another Castlevania game if they ever decide to go
we were talking about that yesterday. I could definitely, like, again, I only played it briefly in the demo, but when I played, I'm like, yeah, I could see this actually working really, really well in a Castlevania game.
Yeah, if you play the demo, you've seen the best thing about the game from there, and with the promise that it gets better with the weapon variety and the enemy variety, which is the game's strongest suit. But right now it has a 75 Metacritic. I'm like, that's too high for me. But
well, I do wonder if that's come down, because Game Informers did post today and they gave it a 5.5.
Oh, there you go. That's gonna
go down. I don't know who the reviewer was, which is why I said they.
Yeah, I've been like literally being like, where are the other reviews? Because I know.
Yeah, you had said yesterday it wasn't there, but I looked right before we start. Actually, I loaded Game Informer to see if there's any news. Okay, yeah, so it's come down a little bit. Yeah, no, I probably will do exactly that. I'll probably keep an eye on when it's about 50% off, and I'll probably grab it then.
Yeah, the subtitle is Arduous Adventure. Indeed it is.
Yes.
Indeed it is. That's how it feels. And not in a good way, because I've had like some arduous adventures that you feel like a sense of release, but in a good way of like conquering it, because the game overall is like well designed. This is like a clear example of getting one thing right and then getting everything else wrong. Talking with Paul, our other co-host, Rick, I made a comparison that it reminds me of 2023's Atlas Fallen, where that I like the
if that's what it is, then maybe I won't buy it at 30, because I really did not like Atlas Fallen.
Yes,
I was very excited for that game.
Me
too.
I
was like, man, this was not good.
Yeah, and if you remember, it's like it has some cool idea. I like the sand traversal. I feel there's some cool ideas in that comment, but nothing else about that game was good. It was so like the world design was so generic. The story was so generic. It was so utter forgettable.
And unfortunately, it's hard to describe this, but like the coolest idea of the combat was making it that it got very risk reward heavy, which was, the better you did, the more damage you did, but the more damage you took in return. And that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
But man, it never really got very
never went
deep at
anywhere.
all, which was a bummer. And it's like, man, you had some actually cool ideas here, and you completely forgot to put a decent game to it.
Yeah, I know they did the Reign of the Sands, wherever they think they did like a big update that
it made it a little bit better. Like it took it from maybe a 5 to a 6. I would say, like, it's still not good, but it did make it better. I won't argue that it did make it better.
Yeah.
But
at least they gave Ben Starr a voice. Like they gave you the voice of Ben Starr.
Although the main character is one who doesn't talk that much.
Yeah,
I thought they made it the blue guy that was with you. I forget his name. No, he's still the same guy. That's the guy that does all the damn talking throughout the game.
Yeah.
So it's like that was not even worth advertising then.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like as you can hear, a 5 from IGN, a 5.5 from Game Informer is like that's around where I am. Maybe a 6.
That seems to be way. I know you obviously you're a gamer. You said it was a 4, but a 4 out of 5. I mean, but most of what I've seen seems to be hovering around the like 5 to 6 range.
Yeah, like topping at 7s mostly. That's kind of like where it keeps just dropping. It's just not a. There's potential here. I will hope for them to kind of like hone in on the good stuff from this, but understand, don't make a 50 to 80 hour game out of this nonsense.
Yeah, there's no question. Like, I don't mind when something's a few hours too long. Like, some people get up in arms if it's one chapter too long, which I think is crazy. But when that's double the length of what that game really needs to be. So that is a genuine problem.
Yeah, because that's kind of like what I said. Is like for the people that even like criticize those God of War games, this game is clearly modeled on. It's like they're not as long as people say it is, unless you platinum them and do like literally everything. But if you just kind of want to mainline it, that's like a 25 to 30 hour game. I'm trying to mainline this. This doesn't really have side quests, and I'm already like at 54 hours, and I don't see the end.
Well, the other biggest difference is, obviously, I've not played it, so I'm just going based off of what you have said here. Based on every criticism that you just stated, outside of length, not one of those can really be leveled at God of War, because God of War has likable characters, or at least well-written ones, if not likable. Yes. God of War has very good level design. It's not just repetitive and boring. It has a story. It has a good story that's worth seeing through and all that stuff. So like, I can see that. I can see the problem. Like, if God of War's combat, as exquisite as it is, did not have all those other things, it would be a worse game. Like I can't do this anymore. You know, the combat's great. This is fun, but I don't want to just trudge through battles after battles. So I definitely can see, and that's with a game that's roughly half the same length anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, and even in a completion for them, and this having worse of that being much longer. Yes. No. Actually, no. They say "boy" here a lot.
Do they really?
Yes.
Maybe they didn't borrow as much from God of War.
Boy or kid, yeah. Even though they're not even related at all. Oh man, it's just so frustrating because like I signed up for it because I was like, okay, I did the Expedition 33 review. I kind of like there's people biting on my heels trying to make more reviews at SG, and I usually tend to be the one that does the most reviews. I always have taken on big loads this year, like a lot of long ones. So I'm like, at first I thought, I was like, that's probably going to be a short one because I know the kind of game Mercury Steam has done. So far,
I expected 20 hours. That's really what I thought it would be.
That's what I thought it was going to be. I was like, I'm going to receive it. I'm going to play it briefly, like over a week. I'm going to write my review and just kind of move on and go back to Doom. And it's like, no, it's much longer and much more annoying.
So, okay, well, I was actually going to use what he just said as a segue of the only real news, if you want to call it that, more of a discussion point that I was going to bring up. And that is regarding Doom. So, for those who do not know, because I don't think I talked about it on here much, I talked about it on yesterday's episode of X Button, which I believe is probably up now. But one of my major criticisms of Doom: The Dark Ages, until a couple days ago, really, was difficulty balance. Because, so as I said, I actually, it's not that I want Doom to be friggin' impossible. Like that's not the plan. But what I've always liked about Doom, is going back to the very original one, is its ability to scale. Right? You can set it on. In the old games, it was called like "Don't Hurt Me, Daddy" or something like that. Or you could put it on. Well, Nightmare was not the original version, but you can just put on Nightmare, and you have everything in between. You have a game that really isn't that bad. So if you're really difficult, so if you're not very good at shooters, you could probably make your way through it. Or if you are good at shooters, you can make it that it is very, very, very difficult, right? And Dark Ages had kind of really faltered on the high end of that. Alex, I was talking about how we were discussing the difficulty. Okay, I didn't know if you could hear me.
Yeah.
And I had said yesterday on our episode that I discovered the key because I'd been tweaking everything on Nightmare and Ultraviolence, which I usually play them on Ultraviolence. And I still could not quite get it right. Either on Nightmare, like I didn't like the total amount of damage I was taking, but I was still pounding through things on Ultraviolence. So I had discovered if I tweak the enemy damage taken, not you, the enemy, down to 50%, which is the lowest you can put it. I was like, now that feels much more like Doom because it doesn't feel like I'm killing enemies in one hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wake up today and go on Reddit and discover that apparently on a stream yesterday that I believe it's the director. I don't, not Marty Stratton.
Hugo Martin.
What? Say it again.
Hugo Martin, the other guy.
That might be who it was. I can't remember for sure, but that might be who it was.
Because it's Marty Stratton and Hugo Martin.
It definitely was definitely not Marty Stratton, but because whoever this guy was, he did say that Marty was also involved in this decision.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on Reddit people were talking about they adjusted the difficulty, and I'm like, but what's very interesting about this, I'll get to that in a second. They did. You notice you never got an update.
Yeah,
they did this on the back end without an update, which is interesting and also in a lot of ways concerning.
Yeah,
but now again, this is not Reddit bullshit. I did not see it, but on this stream, he confirmed that's what they did. They did not say what they did. He just said he described it as like, I guess they will compare. I don't know if they look at all of them or just a few specific ones. They will look at the specific arenas and they will take the data based on how much people die and don't die or whatever as going through them. And he did say he knows. So this just shows that I was not crazy. As much as Joe tried to act like I was not nuts. That he said they noticed on Ultraviolence and Nightmare in particular, they did not have anywhere near the number of deaths they expected to have for player deaths. So
it's an easier game.
It's a much easier game. It's a much you are almost too powerful. And it's not that it's a problem that you're powerful, it's that it wasn't balanced in the other direction of making the enemies powerful enough, which is why I said I think them being too squishy was the problem. Like they were just dying too fast, right? But people on Reddit, now I have not played it this morning, so I can't judge today, so I can't judge that. But they have said, so I might end up having to go back to like default Ultraviolence because they said it is significantly harder now. So this is a good thing. I'm actually glad to hear that. Ultraviolence should be tough, not impossible, but difficult. However, the point I specifically want to talk about is I generally do find that a bit of a concerning issue that they can tweak the game without even updating it because it might not sound like much, but what the hell else could they do then? If they can adjust your client without pushing an update to you, that's a little bit worrying. And the fact that Microsoft owns them makes it way more worrying because we know what Microsoft likes to do behind the scenes.
Because the thing is that every update that we know goes through these consoles has to pass through QA. We've heard that like a million times. Like and they're doing that like from like the back end. I'm like, for a single player only game on top of that. That's kind of weird.
It's one thing if it's an MMO, because obviously the MMO is entirely built around the host as opposed to the client.
Destiny does like a ton of back-end updates.
Yeah, and I understand it in something like that. Something like Doom, it's like, and again, my complaint is not that they changed it because I wanted them to change it, but it's like, man, that seems a little, not invasion of privacy necessarily, but like it could lead to that, right? Like, the fact that they can tweak something on their system without pushing an update to your client and it affects your game seems a little weird to me.
It's a hotfix.
Yeah, but you don't typically have those on console unless it is an online-only game, which,
to be fair, hotfixes are like 300 megs, like updates that you see from outside your console.
They can be, but what he is talking about ones that don't actually require client updates.
On a lot of softwares, you have like hotfix that apply when you load the software. They are so small that
you don't even notice it,
see
right? And that clearly is what's happening here. Like, although you obviously would, no matter what, see your Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, you would see it downloading even that small update. But somewhere here, there is obviously data transferring back and forth. Even
if you leave it on rest, it updates automatically.
Well, right. But a
lot of the time, I launch my PlayStation, I have a notification that says.
Well, that's what I mean. It still tells you it made the update. That's what I'm saying. Whereas here, like I see Freight says he saw a Doom update come. there was an update, but that's not this because,
Yeah.
like I said, this was
An update.
confirmed.
Mhm.
There was no update used for this. They tweaked it on their end, is what he said, and
Yeah.
it passes then along. So now that said, I do believe. I don't think it tells you this, but I don't think you can actually play Dark Ages without being connected. So that's
Yeah,
obviously
I don't know
functional.
either because I'm always connected, so I
Right.
wouldn't know. So I know Call of Duty's like that. You cannot play the campaign of Black Ops 6 without being online, which is nuts.
It's insane.
But,
Yeah,
but
that's been
other-
that's been around for a long time now.
Yeah.
But I have not been able to talk much about Doom because the week that it came out was when I had that big
Right.
problem at the flood. Like when you
Right.
gave your impression
Well,
on our show.
and then when you got that fixed, you played one day, and then the next day you got Blades of Fire or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah. So I'm only up until chapter 9 of that game, but I'm usually someone that likes playing and hurt me plenty, kind of like what's above the easy one.
Normal. It's
And
considered normal.
it's basically a normal. And I am really enjoying actually how easy Doom the Dark Ages is because I kind of need catharsis at this point in my like right now where I am right now with life because I just want to unleash without having something push back on me. The little time that I played of just like that combo of the shield and like the weapons and all that, me being given the freedom of using all of my arsenal how I want, which is kind of like what I said, the thing that I didn't like much about Eternal was how the combat sandbox of that game was so obligated on you following the rules of that it put on you of like you have to constantly be in that cycle of flamethrower, grenade, like the specific weapons or specific weaknesses for certain enemies. There's still some weaknesses here, but it feels like there's more freedom to use everything like however you want and just mix and match.
What's funny is I disagree with you in a lot of ways. I actually think now again, outside of the fact that it is easier, you take that out of the equation. I actually believe that in many ways, outside of certain areas, obviously, it's a little bit more demanding of using specific combat methodology. And also, actually, something I was going to say was the game, and actually, this was confirmed by one of the guys at Doom. I don't remember. They essentially took the idea of they like the Marauder and like, let's make a game basically around that, which is what this is. It's just, it's not as poorly designed as the Marauder was, which was the problem there.
Yeah, it's basically you're the Marauder now. Because you have everything.
No, you're still parrying. All your parrying, so that's what they're referring to. It's just that you don't have to be at mid range, like all that kind of crap was the problem.
Yeah,
but
I feel like I have not been funneled towards using a specific weapon, like in the combat scenario. That was kind of my thing. Like 2016 was like that. You're in the combat, you have your tools, use them however you want, just survive. And Eternal was a little bit more strategic. There was more of a combat puzzle element to Eternal that wasn't there in 2016. And you could like really make do with like any weapon you want, however you want it. Maybe like I can even see like in some ways that you can even just use one weapon in Doom the Dark Ages if you even wish to. I would say that's actually boring.
I also don't think that's even remotely possible because another complaint that I remember you told me, specifically of Eternal, was the lower max ammo capacity. It's way lower in Dark Ages than it was in Eternal.
I think I'm like always overwhelmed with ammo now compared to like I tried Eternal briefly. I was like, damn it, I forgot that you start with low ammo. You really need to find like those upgrades to get more ammo immediately because I always felt like I was running out in Eternal. So, but
I don't know. Silken, have you played Dark Ages? I don't even know if you're a Doom guy or not.
Chapter 5 or 6.
I'm on 6 right now.
The dragon. Yeah. I just did the
okay, you're on 5 then. You're on 5 then.
Yeah, you're in chapter 5. Boring chapter.
I finished that one. I finished the dragon.
I ironically, okay, then actually you're on 6. That's actually where I am. I'm midway through 6. It's Siege Part 1 is the name of it.
And
that's a big, like I 100% of that level.
Yeah, it's very big.
It's very big.
I never got around to play 16 and Eternal. And even that Doom, it's fun for what I played, but I don't know if I continue. Like, I'm not much of a FPS guy anymore.
Okay, that's what I was getting. I generally did not know if you even like first-person shooters or not.
That's what I grew up with, like the original Doom and Quake and Unreal Tournament and the first Call of Duty and Medal of Honor, etc. But I'm kind of over that now.
Yeah, but kind of like I was saying, is like I just like I like player expression a lot, and I remember the words player expression were used a lot in the developer direct for this game in particular. And player expression is you here have your tools and then you make your fun with that. And I feel like this game allows that more than the last one, even though the other one had a catharsis to getting out of some of those combat scenarios, like 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 not completely unscathed, but kind of like you. There was always a moment in Eternal that you're surrounded by one more other here, cacodemons over here, and you're like surrounded. There's like teleporters everywhere, and you're kind of like dashing and burning people and using grenades. That you feel like you're using all those tools. That at the end you feel like, oh, wow, I survived that. Eternal has that, and I don't feel like the Dark Ages is tuned that way. I feel like the Dark Ages is tuned more for you to feel like you are that tank. You're that one that's like you're the Hulk here. You're gonna come here and destroy and like stand your ground and just break everything. And the thing is that even though it's a slower game, I actually went back to 2016 to compare. I would dare say that Dark Ages is faster than 2016 even because of things that you can even do in this one to speed you up.
It was very much overstated how slower, because it's not slow at all. It's not still way, it's still way faster than your average shooter.
I play like Alex on normal. Don't remember the name, but you can go through a level like not stopping. You just go forward and you kill stuff on the way, and that goes very fast.
The shield is very OP too.
I'll say also the ability to, well, not ability, but you just do it. The ground slam or whatever makes it that you don't even have to slow down then when you're jumping off of ledges and stuff like that.
And they just shockwave like melt.
By the way, one thing I know about the Doom Dark Ages, I haven't watched it, but I heard about it for the speedrun. There's a glitch apparently. I don't know if they fixed it. When you are in the ledge climb animation, if you open your map and you just center the map where you want to go, you're just teleported.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really? Okay.
You said this is in Dark Ages, or this was in Eternal? You said
no, in Dark Ages.
Dark Ages. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so funny that people already.
No, Eternal has other glitch, like with the
fast travel. I think.
Your mouse speed and the
they probably
scrolling, and you can like just fly.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel I would enjoy Eternal more if I played it on mouse and keyboard because of how fast it is and how specific some enemies have to be got. Is like those demons that have like the big thing over here that kind of fly around. The ones are those the Mancubus, the one that have like the cannons in their hands.
The big fat guys with cannon arms are Mancubuses. Yes. Are you talking about you talking about the Slayer Hunters for the other ones? Those are the ones that fly around on the.
Yeah, that had some things here like in their shoulders that you have to like shoot them.
The Revenants. The Revenants. Yeah, like skeletons. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like
what's funny is that I actually think that the game. I know what you're talking about because you're talking about when you would snipe in to take off a. I actually think that with a controller, because I played the game entirely on Xbox. I have it on PC.
I played it on PlayStation also. So
yeah, you just play FPS with a controller.
The game actually gives you a pretty wide like margin of error for where you should, because there's times where I've took a sniper shot, if you want to call it that, with the assault rifle, and I was like, I wasn't even close, and it still counted as hitting the thing. So it gives you a pretty big window to shoot it, especially with the Mancubus. I don't know if I ever once missed a Mancubus shot of shooting the cannon.
You usually don't miss them like in the first half of the game. When it started getting overwhelming was the second half for me.
I'm talking the last like 2 levels is when I started. I don't know why. I really didn't even do that at first, and I'm like, man, I probably should start taking out the weak points. So I was doing it very late. But also I think I had the ability, not that I was using it that much, but the ability where if you're jumping and you aim, that it slows down time. But but I was still doing it running around too. So now, I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm everybody. I am just saying for me, it gave you a pretty big margin of error for where you were aiming. Yeah. Probably the toughest one for me would have been maybe trying to shoot the gun off of the arachnotrons, but even that I didn't have too much trouble with because they kind of move a bit sporadically.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like I get why people like Eternal. So far, like Dark Ages is definitely my jam, and what I love about this Doom trilogy is that I feel like there are 3 so different like feeling games in specific ways that I feel everyone can have their favorite out of this 3. And
that's
like
the one thing I hear all the time. Like everybody has their own ranking.
Yeah, and that's kind of a feat that
they all agree that they are good in their own way. They're just slightly rearranged.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look, I mean, there's really 7 main entries, right? Not counting the mobile games and all that other crap. There's really 7 main entries, and I think I could pretty accurately put mine. Well, I haven't played enough Dark Ages to really rank it, I suppose. But in terms of the other ones, I could rank them pretty accurately. And
Yeah.
I will say, of the 7 main entries, I think by far the worst is 64, and I don't think it's even close.
Oh yeah,
like by a mile, that is the worst one. But
yeah, the fact that it's canon to 2016 is
still
nuts.
okay. But and also, I mean, Doom 3 really is, in terms of the overall story, is not in any way even attached. It's kind of like a side story, I guess, is what they.
Yeah,
they
and the feel of that game is like so weird. Like
I love Doom 3. To be clear, I love Doom 3. But
it's like the vibe, the scarier vibe of it is actually pretty cool. And there's still it's still worth playing nowadays. I was like playing it again. It's like, yeah, it's like I love the shotgun here. That there's like a satisfaction to this shotgun.
Well, actually, what I really liked was the super shotgun in whatever it's called, Resurrection of Evil, because it was not in the original version of Doom 3, and I love the super shotgun in Doom 3. One thing I do wish, now that you mentioned about it being playable now, because you're right, is I do wish, just as an option, because I know not everyone wants this, I wish there was a way to turn Doom 3 on the modern version, whatever they call it, to play like the original Doom 3, which is where you cannot have the flashlight on at the same time, because I love that. Everybody hated that. I love that. I thought that was such a cool thing that you had to like bring out the flashlight as an item, which then took away your gun. So it created some genuine, like, insane. It's why they put so much emphasis in the lighting effects and the darkness of it, stuff like that. But then everybody bitched about it, so they changed it in Resurrection of Evil, and then whenever
the BFG edition from 2012,
whenever that comes out, they then basically the Doom 3 version in it uses the like shoulder mounted flashlight. Like I'm like, damn it, you ruined what made that special.
Majority opinion though.
Good to see you. I do not agree. I do not consider 64 really good at all. I think it is at best adequate.
Yeah.
I think every other of the Doom games is at least very good. I think that one is drastically not as much. But to each his own.
By the way, look, congrats on Teacher of the Year.
Yeah.
I saw it on Blue Sky. But overall, like I wish I could keep playing Doom instead of keep playing Blades of Fire. Like that's kind of where I am. I'm like, if only I could go back, because I was really enjoying my time there. So
anything? I do have one other one I'll talk about briefly, but any game you wanted to talk about, Silken? I know there's certainly some indies you'd like to.
If you give me the space, I'll talk about the 6-1 indie showcase.
Save that. A game that you are playing, because you're not playing any of the 6-1.
I bounced around a lot since I'm back from PAX, because I finished Clear Obscure just before PAX, and I just can't stop thinking about the game.
I thought it came out like 2 days before PAX.
No, not 2 days, a week.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was the week. Yeah, I played it a lot.
Well, I guess also, to be fair, I got it like 4 days later, which is probably part of why.
Yeah.
That probably screws up my time, my timing a little bit.
So Sea of Stars DLC came out this week.
I heard it's very good.
I've started, and it's good to be back. It's good to
I know they did a homage to Final Fantasy VI in the DLC. I saw it. I was like, I want to play that now.
And I started Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time.
I had no idea that game had a subtitle. Yeah. I'd always just seen it referred to as Fantasy Life I.
Yeah.
I thought that was Fantasy Life 1 instead of
Fantasy Life. It's a lowercase I think. Yeah.
But I usually read that as 1.
It's basically Animal Crossing with RPG on top and open world map. Even like I guess two open world maps. So there's a lot of content. It's cute. It's cozy. You have like you can go through the game almost like not fighting. You can, because at some point you have companions that can fight for you. So if you really want, you can just be a gatherer of some type or a craftsman and just focus on that. And I think they have multiplayer too, or a kind of multiplayer where you can recruit like kind of the ghosts of other people. but I'm not that far in. But I still have like 5-6 hours, and I'm not out of the tutorial. So that's really a JRPG.
I don't remember if he
coded.
dropped his review or simply said he is reviewing it, but it sounds like Travis was liking it from what I've seen.
I don't know if he was reviewing
I
it.
was actually saying that more to Alex, but he didn't react. So
Yeah,
But
no,
it's a fun game.
what's that?
Like I was a bit surprised at the price, but for the content and the quality of it, like I'm okay with it.
Oh, look who just showed up. He's
Baden's here.
Baden, you're 45 minutes late for what you were supposed to be here for.
Too late. Bloodborne 2 was announced.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's out
now.
now.
Now it's canceled because he was not here for the announcement. So
Yeah,
now it is
yeah.
canceled.
Now we have to wait.
I didn't make the rules, man. That's from Sauce.
We have to wait 10 more years now.
Yeah.
Ooh, by the way, like one thing I'm excited for this week I just downloaded was Onimusha 2. Getting to play the
Yeah, it came out today, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm gonna buy that, but I'm trying to see if they're gonna release a physical version. I have the physical version of the first one, but
yeah, probably later. They usually do like staggered for that.
All right. Well, now that he's here, should I do a quick run through this again? Yeah. Okay. All right, Baden. So this might surprise you, but I was not actually going to be announcing Bloodborne 2. I'm sorry to trick you with that. What I was going to show you, and anybody that's still here, was I got my copy of Grace Given, an Elden Ring something, mythology of Elden Ring or whatever, which is a very expensive lore guide. About around $300, and yeah, you have been deceived. Yes, so it's got this slipcover with Alexander. All right, and then online, it's actually still available. It's from Tune and Farewell is the name. They make kind of like high quality like collectors
Fairweather
mythology. What's that?
Fairweather.
Fairweather. Okay, what did I say?
Farewell.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Tune and Fairweather. That's correct. I mean, I haven't read it yet, Freight, so I can't say that. But I'm going to guess the answer to that is still a no. Either way. But anyway, very high quality book. It's got that thing of what's that guy called? The guy you are. What the hell are you called?
Well,
Tarnish.
Yeah,
Tarnish. Yes, thank you. Got that embossing.
We'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some water.
And some gold trimmed pages, and then it has very high quality pressing of like there's I believe 20 illustrations. So I'm trying to get it on camera here. You can kind of see there that it's not like a print of it. It actually is like it almost looks like it is painted onto the pages. And this sounds like a weird thing to say, but if you were touching it, you see what I mean. Like the paper is very high quality with very high quality printing, and really goes into all the lore and stuff like that. Like I said, this is expensive. This was I keep forgetting, $270. Is that what it was? Something like $269 or something like that. You're obviously in Canadian dollars,
it's not even on the site anymore, so you can't even check.
Oh, really? I thought it was
the collector is not. No.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. I thought they had
deluxe edition is.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of the same, but with a Astel on the cover. And
okay, gotcha. Yeah, you know what? I think the big difference. It doesn't have the slip cover, right? No, it does. It has different. It has a different slip.
Different. It's not a faux leather velvet like that. It's just a paperback.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of different chapters. It was written by Smotown, if you know who that is. He has a channel that is heavily dealing with like FromSoft lore and stuff like that. They had him write the whole thing. Like they had done one for Dark Souls 1 called the Abyssal Archive. They had Vati write that one. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't know how well you can see the pressing of the like, what do you want to call it there? Like the texture is like very, very high quality. Yeah, this is a high end piece. There's no question. It's I'm not saying everybody wants to drop this kind of money for a book, but like I don't really know what that means. Elden Ring.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We'll take.
My name is Bife. He's the Vati of Destiny and Destiny 2.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, that's well, I mean, Vati is also pretty big in Elden Ring, but I want to say Smotown is maybe a little bit bigger actually. Just for
By video.
Yeah, he's big for Dark Souls, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a picture of I always forget his name, but I know who he is.
Medicate.
Thank you. He's actually got a good name. I don't know why I couldn't remember it, but yeah, this is a genuinely pretty awesome book. So yeah, just wanted to show that to Baden. I put a carrot at the end of the string. I told him that we were announcing Bloodborne 2.
Someday. Hey, maybe at that state of play from June, right?
Listen, I don't even need a Bloodborne 2, like just a remaster at 60 FPS.
That's all people need.
We'll see that the fact that he came late though and didn't show up. Not only did they not announce, or did we not announce Bloodborne 2, they're actually making a patch for Bloodborne that's going to make it run worse.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe, but they can do it. They can do it.
I'm safe. I'm safe. My emulator on the PS4 emulator works, so I'm good. I can play at 60 FPS anyway.
Yeah, man, it's like man. Me and Rick always talk about that. It's like such easy layups that Sony could do, like for its families, that they just don't do.
They have to be actively trying at this point to not do them.
Yeah,
because even on the 30th anniversary, like sizzle reel of PlayStation,
they put it.
They had Bloodborne and
it's about persistence. That's what it says.
Yeah.
It's like the fact they use that word is like, man, that stings.
You're just teasing us, like
the biggest case of blue balls I've ever seen.
So I'll just go do it very, very quickly because there's not a lot that hasn't been said before. But I have been playing a bit of Stalker 2 again recently. I got back into it, mostly because about 3 weeks ago they had the I keep getting my number. I want to say 1.4 update for this. I think 1.6 was out last. I think this one was 1.4. I mean, it's a game that still badly needs some better performance on the Xbox, but it really is a sweet game. They have most of the bugs with that aren't out now. It's still got a little bit of janky.
Wait, is the performance was still like jittery?
I wouldn't call it jittery, but it's most certainly not a steady 60. It's not even close. But I initially had played it on quality simply because quality was pretty steady. I don't know if this was because I was trying to switch back and forth, or if it's a bug or whatever. I noticed when I switched from playing from performance to quality while I was playing it, the like sensitivity was completely screwed up. It turned the camera so slow. Maybe that's a glitch. I don't know. Maybe
I know there was dead zone issues with that controller.
That's been long since fixed. That's not it at all. No, it was a matter of like, if you turned up the sensitivity, it still was twitchy and felt weird, but it was turning way too slow. Whereas it felt like it was turning at the correct speed on performance. So my guess is it's either a bug or it's a bug that is caused by switching from performance to quality and not just simply restarting the game, which I should have tried that to see what it did. But nevertheless, I just want to call that out because that is a good game. We actually still have, I don't remember how many they announced, but they haven't released any of the expansions yet. So we still have a fair bit of support coming. And I mean, one has to assume it's coming to PlayStation at some point. It's actually kind of crazy that it hasn't released yet.
Yeah, and now we even have that announcement of the Space Marine 1 remaster that's not coming to PlayStation, that it's an Xbox exclusive. I'm like,
which is very strange.
Very strange.
Weird.
It's like, we live in a world where we're going to get Gears of War, Forza, potentially Halo, now Hellblade 2 for the excitement of 10 people over on PlayStation, but Space Marine 2 is exclusive to Xbox. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, what a world we live in.
I mean, the original Space Marine was on PS3.
It wasn't PS3. That's
okay. That's what I thought. I thought that's where I played on PC actually. What I'm talking about. But yeah, I thought it was on both. Yeah, that's so weird. I don't know why that is.
Is they want on Game Pass? I'll still play it. I need to use my Xbox.
I'll end up playing on PC. I do not know. They have not confirmed if it's a free or reduced priced upgrade. I know it's on Game Pass, but I'll still play it on PC. That's where I played Space Marine 2 anyway. The first one and the second one. So, but
yeah, Space Marine 2 was on PS5, so that's what makes it weird. It's like have the sequel there. Why is the original not there? It's like, what kind of money was this? Like an old money hat that Microsoft did, like when they got Darktide or whatever, whichever Warhammer game that was like the 4-player co-op one that came out like a year before on Xbox before PlayStation. Do you remember?
I mean, it would be Darktide, but I don't remember that being an Xbox exclusive.
It was.
or Vermintide. It could be Dark Tide or Vermintide or both.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it was when they
Western
launched
side
first
both
on Xbox, and then it came out. It came out on PlayStation like a year after.
I guess I didn't realize that.
So-
Well, I guess if we want to talk about a little bit of news stories, there's a news story is that Sega or I guess Warhammer announced every imaginable game they could over a 15-minute
screen,
span.
right?
I even asked Clint. I'm like, I went to IGN not knowing what was going on, and their entire video wall was nothing but Warhammer announcement. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, Dawn of War, I think, is one of them. Like they're doing
Dawn
like
of War remake, a new game which is the sequel.
Bolt Gun 2. Bolt Gun 2.
Did they not? I thought it was Bolt Gun DLC.
I thought it was Bolt Gun 2. It had like the 2 at the behind where it says Bolt Gun, so you can double check.
Maybe it's both. I don't know. I thought they announced DLC for Bolt Gun though. Yeah, they generally announced like 8 or 10 different things.
A lot of Warhammer.
The CRPG is what I'm talking about, Freak. I just forget the name.
I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. There's always a lot of Warhammer coming out. Like, if you just check the Steam page, you search for Warhammer 40k, and you'll have like more than enough to fill your backlog.
Over the last 20 years, there's probably been 500 games for Warhammer. It was weird they announced them all at one time like that. But he did say, I guess it was Warhammer Day, which is why they announced this all. But
I'll take it. I like Warhammer. It's a cool series.
Soaking it. I will give you the floor. You can preach your indies.
Yeah, because we talked AAA with Doom. We talked AA with Blades of Fire with maybe 1A. And this week
we're going to talk zero.
We'll talk about indie games and not AAA initiative indie games. I'm talking about India's indie game. So we had the 6-1 Indie Showcase, the spring one. It was Thursday.
That was yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Yes, it was yesterday. And we got like a look at, I think, 48 new indie or returning over 1 hour showcase. That was, for my money, a very good showcase. There was a bit for everyone. I encourage you to go listen to it. You maybe find something to your taste. I'll just recommend some of them. I don't know if I present my screen. I can.
It might. I might have to approve it. I'm not sure, but.
Huh? Is it working?
No,
I think you're.
Here it is. I got it.
Okay, so a couple. Kid Bash. It's like if Plucky Squire had gameplay. It's really Mega Man, but with a Plucky Squire aesthetic, as you can see here. If I change window, that I have to change here.
Yeah, it shares the screen. It doesn't it's not.
It shares if you like Inscription, Inkshade.
Ooh, nice.
It's a tactics game with based on a hex grid, and it has everything of the Inscription stuff. So you have a kind of a game master, a creepy game master. You can choose your path. You have puzzles and secrets outside of the tactics, and you have a demo. A lot of these games have demos, so I encourage you to at least try them. Don't show that again. My personal favorite, but it's like for like 2 people maybe listening, maybe just even me. Cast and Chill. It's a cozy idle fishing game. I love my fishing in games, my fishing mini games, my fishing games, and the pixel art is gorgeous.
I say the pixel art is lovely.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
Nice.
And you have a doggo. You can pet the doggo.
I love that dog animation. Wow.
You can pet it. You can upgrade your line, your
I
lure.
I particularly like the background and the way that it was animated when the boat was moving.
You have different locations, and there's a demo. Like, because indie games know that they need.
I'm not usually the biggest cozy game guy. It's just not my thing, but that might be a decent Steam Deck game. So that might be
The
something
demo.
worth.
The demo has there's different modes. So you
Okay.
can have an active mode where you fish, you cast your line, and you have to reel the fish and be careful to not break your line, etc. And you have an idle mode. The idle mode is not in the demo, so you have to fish. So
It might be a good Steam Deck game. Just
yeah.
which
Um,
I've always said, actually, if nothing else, Dave the Diver is probably the perfect Steam Deck game. I guess I'll show
Probably.
And a good one to play on a Portal too.
On another side of the spectrum, if you like automation games like Factorio, Satisfactory, there's Future Vibe Check, where it's the same principle. You mine resources, you craft contraptions to make more resources, etc. But it all works on vibe and music. I don't know if
So is it actually rhythm based then, or what?
is there sound if I share the screen or
No. The only way to get sound through this is sharing a
don't worry, just
a link. So not sharing the screen. Yeah,
but every little, like, you have nodes like the colored squares that you can see sometimes where there's a light coming to them. They all produce a sound. So you have a bank of instruments that you can unlock and set, and
that otter makes me uncomfortable.
the DJ otter.
Yes.
So it's an automation game, but you produce music with it instead of just having like in Satisfactory. You just have the satisfaction of seeing the animation all in sync, etc. But that's kind of it. You have your resources, you put them in a space shuttle, you send it, you unlock more stuff. Here the goal is to make music, and they have a demo out, and they also have a creative mode on the demo. So if you're not about the automation and the gathering, etc., creative mode, and you can just make music.
Interesting.
Yep.
Those were, you call those the highlights then of the?
And just one last.
One more. Okay.
It was
You sounded like you were done. That's why I was asking.
It was their last game. It was their one more game, because I'll talk just after that about their one more thing.
Yeah, the Dino Blade.
Oh, yeah.
The Dino Blade. Mm-hmm. You probably seen it like on TikTok or on Twitter. Yeah. The guy was making animation rigs of dinosaurs with swords for his portfolio, and everyone was asking him to make it a game. So he did just that. Well, he is doing just that because it's not out. Mm-hmm. And so we will have a game where we fight as dinosaurs.
With a big, like, great story.
That's so absolutely ridiculous, but
love it.
That's
but hey,
perfect.
There's also a game with a squirrel with a gun, so I guess this is no more or less ridiculous than that.
Nope.
In fact, it might actually be less ridiculous than that, but still.
So for the games, that's my personal highlights, but you can find like horror games, Metroidvanias.
There was a lot of them. Was it like 50 games, I think?
48. There was 48 in the showcase, and 5 or 6 already out in the pre-show. So there's a lot. And just to there, one more thing is they are launching a publishing label. So they now have 6-1 Publishing.
It's just called 6-1. Okay, gotcha.
6-1 Publishing. So they will start helping
indie games. By definition, that makes them not indie games, but I know we have a different. If they're a publisher, that would make them not a not indie games. But
that's not my definition of indie.
I know it's not your definition, but it is the literal definition. So
the definition, like independent games,
yes,
doesn't mean you can't have subcontractors.
no, but it means you can't have funding, like outside funding. That's what
No.
indie means. Yes, it does.
Indie means you're independent on the creation of your game. Doesn't mean that you can't have like a publisher helping you with QA, localization, and marketing. Like I don't see the.
We will have to agree to disagree on that one. But
yeah,
but,
I mean the indie definition is like.
Yeah, there's a million different uses.
Mine is on the artistic and creation process.
I understand. And I look at more as the literal sense of it. But now, actually, I can't believe I forgot about this. There is actually one other game to talk about that I totally forgot to talk about, and it's probably the game I should have talked about more than anything. I got, as you've seen me talk to Ellery in the Discord, I got Roadcraft this week. And what made me think of it was when you were showing Dino Blade and saying that the guy made it, and people were like, "Hey, you should make a full game out of this." That's actually kind of where this whole line of games originated from. I'll just go to the very brief history here. There was I believe he's Russian. A guy made a game called Spin Tires at some point in 2010, maybe a little later than that, which the whole idea was you drove trucks through mud, right? And like it had a very, at the time, advanced physics physics modeling for the tire spinning, hence the name, and when they would get traction losing and all that stuff. It actually got to be pretty well liked on the Steam platform. So I believe it got a publisher, but I could be wrong about that. He then made Mud Runner, which is the follow-up, which did do pretty well and actually did get a console release, which then led to Snow Runner, which has been by far the biggest one of them all, right? And then from there, but that said, he worked on Mud Runner. He did not work on Snow Runner. Snow Runner was made by Saber Interactive, who I have mentioned in the past on this particular show that I think Saber might be maybe the most underappreciated developer in the entire industry, because their remarkable like set of diversity of what they can make is actually pretty amazing. They're the ones that made Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2. Like it's you got a third-person shooter there, or you got this, which is a physics simulation, but a physics-based, moving through deep snow and mud and all that stuff, right? Then they made Expeditions. Then they made Roadcraft, and this is, even though in the same general idea, it actually is a pretty different beast. Because where Mud Runner and Snow Runner are about hauling typically heavy equipment and stuff like that through, again, destroyed terrain and stuff like that. Expeditions was more about just exploring an open world with no roads and stuff like that, right? Expeditions didn't quite do it for me. Roadcraft, on the other hand, uses those kind of mud and whatnot physics, but it's not about resource management, which the others to an extent are. In this one, you are actually you're running a disaster restoration company. So all the maps are like after a hurricane or something like that has hit, and the idea is you're rebuilding roads, you're rebuilding infrastructure, you're rebuilding, you're moving pipes and all that stuff and all that. But what they did different here is, so in the other games, a major part of it is like fuel management, right? Whether it's you take a fuel truck with you to refill, or in Snow Runner, on certain parts you'll find a gas station, right? They took all that. There's no vehicle damage. There's no fuel to worry about here at all. However, they made up for it by having a bajillion different kinds of vehicles. Now it's not just trucks and tractors and stuff like that, where now you're actually using like asphalt pavers, you're using cranes, you're using like tree harvesters and stuff like that. And what's pretty amazing is how they really didn't like half-ass any of it. Like there's actually a pretty decent effort put into all the ones that I've used so far. I'm not far enough into it to have used a lot of them, but I am actually very, very impressed with it right now. So where the general gameplay loop, if you will, of like Snow Runner was, you would take your missions to make money, to buy new vehicles with that. But the general gist was you were always doing contracts to, they would get more and more complicated, right? And the idea was to, by transporting this generator there, you would then start up this, which then leads to you being able to transport logs and all that. And then eventually you would start up like a like an oil drilling platform or something like that, right? Here, as I said, the damage has already been done to the locations. So what you're actually doing in most cases is you're repairing roads, you're repairing building, whatever it is, in the thing, and you're creating like convoys that are AI controlled vehicles, whatever, to go from one type of building to another, but they aren't built to go through like the tough terrain like your other stuff is. So the point is, like, you need to, for example, one of the first ones that you do is you have a dump truck that you fill with sand, you dump the sand out, and then use a bulldozer and actually flatten it out so that they're not getting stuck in mud. This all sounds really stupid and really mundane, and it is mundane, I guess, but it actually is done with such like affection that it's just fun. It, like, right before the game came out, their like launch trailer was actually showing something like a kid playing with his dump truck in a sandbox or whatever, and looking up and across the street there was a construction zone being worked on, and I was like, that's a weird commercial. What the hell? And then I played it, and I'm like, never mind. That actually was exactly what this is. This actually is like you playing in your sandbox, with your little truck toys and all that stuff, and what you're imagining doing, except now it's actually being done as a game. And again, it sounds mundane, it sounds stupid. It honestly is surprisingly good. It is surprisingly endearing.
There's a reason why all these like
Simulation
real-life
games,
simulation game work. Like Power
On,
Wash,
on paper,
farming.
on paper, it's the dumbest thing ever. But in
It's
practice,
like, why would you do like a real job but in a game? Like,
although to be fair,
I hate taking care of my lawn, like myself.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I can't do Lawnmower Simulator either for that exact reason. But yeah, no, on paper it's dumb, but in practice it actually is cathartic. And like, obviously not everybody can just walk out and go drive a dump truck, right? That takes years of training to get your license.
At least a couple months of training, yeah.
Sure. But I am quite happy with this. The one thing I will say, and I saw this in the one review, and I think it's pretty right in this case. So these games, SnowRunner had, I believe, 2-player co-op. It might have been more. I think it was 2. Expeditions had 4. And this has, I think, also 4. This game does feel like it was built more for co-op than it was by yourself, because you can do it by yourself, but you're kind of doing like you'll take the one vehicle and do something, then you got to switch to the next one and do it. Whereas if you're doing a co-op, you could all be doing different things at one time to kind of like speed up the process. It's not the end of the world, but I do see the criticism that can be leveled there is if you're trying to play it by yourself, it takes a lot longer to do anything. But yeah, so far, big thumbs up. Like I said, I was a little disappointed in Expeditions. This one, however, so far I'm very, very happy with. They really did a really good job.
It's good to hear, because I was kind of worried for you because it had at release it had a mixed review on Steam. Now it's mostly positive.
Oh, really?
It went up. It was mixed.
Maybe there's some issues with the PC version then.
Maybe
because the actual like reviews have been very, very good, and most of them have said that this is probably the best gameplay that Saber has done with these like simulation like series. So I mean, hey, I know obviously you don't like Grand Theft Auto, but there's times I would like in Grand Theft Auto just going off and doing one of the stupid, I mean
off roads.
Yeah, like just driving a truck off road or whatever. So like, I can totally understand why I would like this, right?
I spent a lot of time on my Vespa in Vice City, just going around and listen to the radio. So
yeah. But that's why I had to say.
When I stopped playing GTA.
I just wanted to bring that up because Soken is not a GTA fan.
Yeah. I'm hit and miss with GTA, but I'm excited for 6. So.
Like, I'll probably try 6 if it's not 100.
Mm.
If they stay at 70.
I did love 4. I'm more colder on 5, but I need to replay 5. I haven't played it in 13 years
I'm not
now.
going to bother. I'll just wait for 6.
The only one I really didn't like was Vice City. I thought all the other ones were excellent.
Yeah, Vice City is like gets glazed because of the soundtrack.
It gets glazed because of it. Well, yes, for sure, but also it's 80s setting. And it's like, but the reality is, it objectively, of those 5 games, it's objectively the worst game. Like there's no opinion.
You know what I noticed, and that's maybe why I stopped at Vice City. After Vice City, they always released on console first, and
Well, Vice
on
City did
PC
too,
way
didn't it?
later.
Mhm.
San Andreas came to PS2 first,
Yes, they were always
Yeah.
launching on PS2
and
first, then
PC
Xbox
later.
after, and then PC.
But at the
Except for
time, I
4.
was just on PC, so
Mm.
it just went out my radar, and I never
Mhm.
really came back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I get that.
3 Vice City and San Andreas, I always played them because I got to borrow them from a friend in secret because I was always afraid of playing it. My parents saw because it was still that era.
Yeah,
4,
because you were with the hooker. That's why.
yeah,
All the time.
yeah. But then ironically, 4 my dad bought, and he bought it specifically because he remembers watching me reading IGN, and IGN gave that game a 10, and he
Mhm.
saw that, and we were buying my brother's birthday gifts because we are gonna get him Ratchet and Clank, Tools of Destruction, and Mario Kart Wii. And then my dad saw that GTA 4 was also in the it was there in the retail. He was like, "Isn't this the game that got a 10?" I only told him like, "Yeah," but I didn't want to say anything. And then I just see him walk to the counter and he buys it. I was like,
Okay.
"What?" I was
So-
like,
Just don't say anything. Just
yeah. I was like,
GTA 4's launch, I can say this. I so incredibly underestimated how big that was going to be. I knew it'd be
Yeah.
big, right? But like, I worked at GameStop at that point,
mhm,
and I remember thinking, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be big, but they're nuts if they think that this. Like, I mean, obviously it was gonna be very big. It's Grand Theft Auto. It was
Mhm.
gonna be big, but I was like, this is gonna be nowhere near what like Halo's was. Yeah, I was so wrong. I wasn't
It was
even
bigger.
remotely close.
it was
Like-
even
like-
bigger than Halo
like-
3's launch.
by tenfold. It
Mhm.
wasn't even in the ballpark. I was like,
You
damn,
probably,
I never thought this would have. I never imagined at that point that GTA
Mhm.
had got to that level, and then 5 somehow was even astronomically
Mhm.
bigger than that.
Were you working GameStop when Halo 3 came out? September
Yes.
2007? Okay.
No, well, I know when it came out. I was just trying to remember if I was working there at the time or not.
Okay, because I'm wondering because GTA 4 was April 2008. I wonder if you also witnessed the Call of Duty 4 launch where it was like
I
the
did.
first day was like quiet and then 2 days
No,
later it was like a big-
I can tell you all about Call of Duty 4's launch because I was one of the people at the time that I mean, not few, but you got to say, like,
Mhm.
I had liked Call of Duty because I liked it back on PC,
Mhm.
and I specifically remember for a month after every single day, you have people coming and going, "Do you have Call of Duty 4?" And it's like,
Mhm.
no, because they also weren't shipping many at the time. They were only
Uh-huh.
shipping 5 or 6 of them to a store at a time, and you'd have if you had a customer that you knew that was there all the time, you're like, "Hey, I really want this game. Can you just let me know when it comes in?" You go,
Mhm.
"Yeah, that's fine," but you wouldn't hold it for most people. And I mean, it would sell out within. I mean, depending what time it was in the day, but it would sell out within 15 minutes of people getting out of college or whatever
Mhm.
for a long ass time. I do remember that.
Yeah, because it wasn't that like that the first day. It's like the word of mouth of that game like
Yeah.
spread like wildfire
Yeah.
like within
Yeah.
2 days.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I remember that very well actually.
mhm.
Because at the time in our district there was a whole lot of like managerial turnover. Imagine
Mhm.
that there was turnover at GameStop, and it's nothing like what it is now. So I like my manager always asked me like, "Hey, do you want to go work at these other stores?" And our store was very busy, so I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'll happily work in their store because they're really slow compared to us, right?" And I remember seeing this in like if the one store I worked at, it's called in Indiana, Pennsylvania. If you've ever heard of IUP, it's right by there. IUP would be the college for the record. And that was a slow store, and we had people coming in over and over and over again asking for Modern Warfare. I'm like, we don't got it, guys.
Yeah, these kids are so ingrained in the Call of Duty because they don't don't understand like what it was like being at Ground Zero when that series really took off. Even being a fan back because that's the thing, like that was not the first Call of Duty. Like I had
No,
played
it was the
Finest
fourth one.
Hour. Yeah, it was like a Finest
Well,
Hour.
I'm sorry you played Finest Hour
One.
because Finest Hour was terrible.
Yeah, and then Big Red
The
One.
actual real original Call of Duty was excellent.
Yeah, the PC one that never made it to console until 2009.
Right, and that unfortunately was a screwed up port because they screwed up the sound mixing.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously Call of Duty 2 at the launch of the 360. That was the game to get on the 360.
That was the first time console got the real Call of Duties.
Mm-hmm. And it was glorious because it was the first time getting to experience the intensity, the 60 FPS. Man, it's like then Call of Duty 3 sucked, but then Modern Warfare, woo, man, it's like the hype for that was unreal.
Very overrated, but good nevertheless.
It's still one of my favorite.
And also, I very much argue that Call of Duty 4 began the downfall of multiplayer gaming.
It started but I would say that really started after Modern Warfare 2. So because
but Modern Warfare 2 took it to a new height.
Mhm.
And also, Modern Warfare 2 was just not a good game, period. And that includes the multiplayer. The multiplayer was broken in that game. I could not believe that was so overlooked by everybody.
I like Spec Ops in that game a lot. And a lot of people really did like that multiplayer, but people forget how broken that multiplayer was.
People would snipe with dual sawed-off shotguns. You remember that?
Oh,
they
yeah.
Snipe from across the map with it.
A Kimbo shotgun.
That was why people liked it, because you didn't need any talent whatsoever to play that game and be good at it.
The javelin glitch.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but
oh man,
Call of Duty 4. Actually, I should give it credit because it was the game that convinced me. Like, yeah, I'm pretty much done with playing multiplayer with randoms because this sucks. I do obviously play, like when I play Rocket League, we play against randoms, but I play with people that I know. Modern Warfare was the one that made me say, never again. I'm done with this. So, all right. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here?
At the moment, no. Like, it's been a
no.
I'm excited for SGF. SGF is 2 weeks away now.
Yeah,
so.
I saw Jeff was hyping it on Twitter.
I would say, like, if some of the things that I'm scheduled to play are any indication, this might be a big one. I can't say what it is, but
if this is a big one, then that would definitely be like, man, what are the Game Awards that you look like again this year? Like it'll indicate that maybe he has. Yes, Silken, I'll be praying with you. If you're saying what I hope you're saying, or think you're saying rather.
Silk Song,
yeah, it should be at the Xbox showcase because it's a Game Pass game. It's a Game Pass Day 1 game. It's been 3 years since they announced it as a Game Pass game. We know it's this year because I have more faith in a Nintendo Switch 2 reveal showcase than in a random Game Pass showcase. It has more weight. So,
but that's kind of like the beauty now of the Xbox showcase, because since they're multi-platform now, it's like that is they're your program.
Like, yeah, Game Pass Day 1 and Switch 2.
Yeah, you're right. The Xbox showcase has almost become the big, like, just general showcase now.
It's like that. It's like they're the food stamp. They're the food
Yeah.
stamps of the gaming industry at this point, because everything's under them and they're giving everything to everyone. But I'm really excited. Some things that I'm gonna be seeing, because like this is my first time going to SGF officially as press, so that's a different feeling.
Nice.
So, but man, I'm flying in at 2 a.m. on June 5th. Ooh, that's gonna be beautiful.
That's when your flight leaves, or when you get
Yes,
in?
no, that's when my flight leaves. So I'm gonna be there at like 6 a.m. on Switch 2 launch day. So that's gonna be an interesting one.
So you got your.
Yes, I have mine because I'm a good guest.
Yes, I'm like
not
the
on
host.
you, Alex.
We're talking about Clint. We're talking about Clint, not you.
I know.
Would you like?
That's the thing. They're so hard to get, the like 14 cookies here. So
yeah, I mean,
when
I found them, they had one box. I'm a grocery store, and that's the last one. So I can't be a guest anymore.
Hey, it hasn't stopped Clint from being on the show, so why should it stop you?
Yeah.
You want to go first? Or you want me to?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I got pray for what you want, but work for the things you need.
Well, we're praying for Silk Song.
I'm praying for Silk Song, and I'm working my day job to pay for it. So
yeah, there you go. You're good to go. Mine.
What if Silk Song is bad?
It won't be.
It will be at least as good as Hollow Knight.
Yes. Which was the best Metroidvania ever made. So yeah.
Yeah.
The real kindness comes from within you. I believe this because the reality is inside I'm empty and hollow, so there's no kindness there at all.
No, there is not.
This is probably accurate, but I can't say one way or the other because there's no kindness to speak of.
Yeah.
Alex, where can people find you?
They can find me at _Drew on Twitter, where I retweet literally every nonsense that deems past my my timeline. And you can find me also on Blue Sky at @Segovia. And find my written content over at seasongaming.com, where you can read my recent review for Clear Obscure Expedition 33, with potentially this Blade of Trash Fire gonna be my next review. So
Oh, that's a good title
That
for
is
your
good subtitle.
article.
That's a good
The Blade
subtitle.
of Trash.
yeah, all right. Ains plays the SEO game so strict that they wouldn't allow me to,
Yeah.
because it always has to be like review, game, tagline. It's
Oh,
like
maybe,
Really?
yes,
you
I
can
would
probably
think
put
that,
that
I would
like
think
as
the catchy
a
subtitle would be more of a draw than anything.
yeah,
as a
I
section
would
title.
yeah, I would love to do that. Like I would love to do that, but sometimes like you gotta. If this was on my own site that I tend to have, and I haven't updated that site in like freaking forever, I would have just put it as Blades of Trash Fire. But yeah, probably you're gonna see a review of that, and it's not gonna like be too kind. And there wasn't an episode of that this week, but catch me and Rick reviewing the Last of Us HBO show, where next week we're ending it, like
Thank
with the last 2 episodes. And I saw a leak of the finale now. I know what it is, what's going to be there now. So
Thank God it's ending. That's all I can say.
yeah.
Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the episode or the season. I mean,
Mhm.
that tells you what my opinion of it has been so far.
Mhm. Yeah.
Silken, where can people find you, my friend?
You can find me at Silkanit, mostly on Blue Sky, and on other Discords like the Spreading the Nerd Discord, XCP, Trophy Room, Season Gaming. I'm over there.
And I am Butch4969 everywhere. Like Alex said, I'm over there with those weirdos on the X button. I will be on next week's episode. I snuck in into yesterday's, so I'm
yes, I was very pleased because I was not expecting that we're gonna have the full crew.
On the way home, I was actually going to jump onto it, but my wife was like, "Are you allowed to do that?" I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "He's been having a bad week. I probably should check on this first before I do it."
Yeah, because we didn't even record that Last of Us episode. So, but
well, beyond that, you were having issues earlier in the week with things. I'm like, yeah, if he's, and I also knew we were on a timing schedule because of Paul, but yeah, I was like,
but it worked. It worked. Yeah, and that was the first episode edited by Joe. So you can check it out. It's live already. So
yeah, but otherwise, if he did what he said he did, Clint should have the link to our Discord in the comments here. Join if you want. I'll do everything in my power to make you uncomfortable. That's kind of my role in there. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.
See you.